Welcome to the Urban Cowgirl Show. At the end of our last harness session with Eve, she showed relaxation with the britchin. In this session, we will take her to the pasture with her britchin on. If she is not stressed, we will introduce her to our homemade forecart. You're watching Eve. It's been weeks, several weeks since we had her harnessed up here. And our next step was to take her across the street to her pasture in her harness. Partial harness anyway, but definitely with her britchin. We're getting her desensitized to her britchin. Even though she was fine the last time we did it several weeks ago, today she was a little bit iffy. So we're just walking around the oak tree here. When Katie is feeling relaxation from Eve, she's going to walk right through. We're going to follow her, leading to her pasture. Hello, Eve. It's all right, Eve. Now, you know, I'm sitting here with a camera tripod, and she might be concerned. Hello, Eve. Very nice, Eve. Now, I did have my hip replacement, so I am recuperating. I'm trying to proceed with this training in a safe manner. We're going to next open the camera in the pasture. Here we are in the pasture. She seems relaxed. Just to fill you in, about 6 weeks ago, something across the street spooked her, and she's been spooky ever since over here, so we took her back to our base property and put her back in her harness, which we used years ago to train her, first train her in. We're kind of going back to the fundamentals. Now, we've got our homemade forecart here. My cameraman's going to show it to you. We store it here in the corner out of the way of the horses. Eve is going to be able to pull that forecart with me in it. Eve has pulled a cart before with me in it, my jog cart. But we're farmers here now, so we need a forecart. And one of the reasons I need a forecart is I just had this hip replacement, and I don't trust that I'll be able to walk on uneven turf to do farming. So Eve is going to help me. Good girl, Eve. How do you desensitize a horse to something? You first walk around it. Let her see it go in each direction, Katie, so she sees it with both eyeballs. And then I'm going to up at the camera while Scott takes that forecart and walks around Eve. So Katie's going to find a neutral place for Eve. And she's going to see that this thing, which she might be perceiving as a potential predator, can move too. And it might make some noises. Good girl, Eve. She's doing fine with her harness and her britchin. We, of course, want to do this eventually, soon, we hope, with drive lines. Okay, so find a nice, comfortable place, and you understand your job. You're going to go to the shafts of the forecart, very slowly talking to Eve. Not too close, just moving up towards her. It's all right, Eve. It's all right. See, now she sees it's moving. She's definitely paying attention. It is making some noises. We're going to go around Eve just like Eve went around it. Good. We're going to go in both directions. When you turn the other direction, yeah, do it far away. She's watching, but no stress other than attention. Look at those ears. Good girl. And then the next thing I'd like you to do is go in front of her, up towards that north fence, and then come towards her with this potential predator. Don't stop too close, stop a ways away. So she sees that this thing could be approaching her and not attacking her. This is just an old hay cart that we made into a forecart. Okay, all right. Good. Good. Stop and show her it's not going to attack her. Good. Now turn it around and approach her with it. It's not that she'll be having to deal with that kind of an approach, but it's just another way to get her familiar with what this forecart is. Good. And stop. Good. And now let her investigate. Investigation is really good when it comes to obstacles. She's licking her lips. Good girl. This old hay cart, some new wood where we'll be sitting and where the shafts are. It's going to be quite a challenge to hitch that to Eve. No matter how long it takes, we'd like to do it. And we'd like to go back to pairs pulling once she gets really comfortable with the britchin here. We weren't sure what she was spooking at for weeks after that occasion. Was it the britchin? Was it her daughter Sadie? Was it the setting? Okay, I kind of feel that that's good. You agree, Katie? Yeah, she's fine. Okay, why don't you put it away, Scott, and then we'll safely take her back. Unfortunately, these two parcels have a street in between, so we do it as safely as we can when we're training, not to put ourselves in a position that it could be dangerous. So it gets stored here in its own little corral with some portable panels that we also have. Up against the fence. Good. An easy gate to use to bring it out. Okay, and Scott is going to take this camera back to the corner. We'll make sure that Eve is willing to go back home without incident. You can see that Eve is totally relaxed. She was fine on coming back this way, fine on crossing the street. The next step will be to walk over there with drive lines, an extra person, drive her around with drive lines, and then maybe we can start harnessing her up over there again. Maybe she won't be spooky anymore. Horses don't always understand what spooked them and very seldom forget that something spooked them. And that's what we're dealing with here. As a matter of fact, Temple Grandin says concerning cows and horses, 90% of the time you can get them back to the way they were before, but always remember that 10% of the time it still may come out. That fear, that innate fear, that natural fear. So we're dealing with that with Eve right now. We're confident we'll get her past it. Our next session with Eve, with our forecart desensitization. If she's as good as she was last time, we're going to walk around her, then we're going to go up behind her and bring the shafts of the forecart to her hips. She might spook. You know, she has good peripheral vision. Last time we just went around her and she went around them and it was a distance away. Today,
we're gonna bring it a little closer and see how she does. Now this morning I watched on RFD TV a program called Farming with Horses on Rural Heritage. And the farmer wanted to use those horses because he had a lot of interest from his neighbors to use horses instead of gasoline vehicles. And he took 3 horses out to a 16-acre field to farm it. And that was quite a job to get those 3 horses, 3 harnesses, and his farm tools that were being pulled by his 3 horses out to this site. And then things didn't work out. The tool wasn't quite right for the condition of the soil. He spent a whole day out there with his 3 draft horses and said, well, that's the name of the game. We'll come back out again tomorrow. Well, we've had some setbacks here too. It's just the name of the game, especially when you're working with animals. But we're going to continue one small step at a time to go forward. And today, going forward means a little bit more desensitization with our homemade Forecart here in what we call our HVD West pasture. Last year we had some Timothy hay growing here in a test site. It did beautifully. This year we have another test site across the street on some property we own. It's growing beautifully. My objective is to actually grow a whole field of Timothy hay here in West Santa Cruz at Shadrach Farms. We'll see if we get there next year, which would be 2013. We probably will have to lease some land and get some extra insurance to do it. Okay, now I am still recuperating from a left hip replacement, doing quite well, knock on wood, but I am going to now go to the camera, and Scott's going to come out here and do what he did last time with the Forecart and maybe take the next step. So I'll be running the camera. Katie is at the lead line. Eve got a little bit high-headed when Katie first put the britchin on and brought Eve over here, but then she relaxed. A little bit concerned. You see that britchin is halfway down her hip. She's concerned. Look at that. Body language. We're going to do this as often as it takes to get her relaxed again, because she used to be relaxed. She had a little bit of a setback by a neighbor playing drums or something across the street last time over there. I think it was that yellow house or that gray house. And that's when she actually knocked me over. This was before my hip replacement, trying to get away from what she thought was scaring her. Okay, now we're walking around. And don't move right now, Scott. It's good. She's looking relaxed. It'll be Katie's judgment call when it's time to maybe line her up in front of the Forecart, come a little closer. You may want to step up towards her hip and then back off. Step up and back off. Approach retreat, okay? Wait till she stops. Oh, she's concerned. Not ready yet. Katie, tell him when you think she's relaxed and kind of lined up in front. We've done tons of obstacles work around here. This is really just an obstacle right now, not a farm tool. Eve has actually pulled a harrow for us last year when we grew our Timothy hay here.
Oh, over.
Oh. Little side passing. Okay, now she knows this thing is behind her, I think. She looks, her ears are back.
Good girl.
Take 2 steps forward, Scott, and 4 steps backward. Tell her you're there. It's all right. Okay, that's 2. Look, she's looking. She thinks, oh, now she's really looking. She said, wait a minute, this thing is coming towards me. Do it again. I want to do it until she says, oh, I'm not concerned. Good, 2 steps forward. She's concerned. 4 steps backward. Good. Keep doing it. Repetition. Okay, she says, okay, I'm not worried about it. Yeah, go back. No, go back a little bit again. Next time, you can touch her with the Forecart shafts, but believe me, she might spook. Katie, Scott, she might spook. It's all right. Tell her it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Yes, she's spooked. And I'll tell you what I've done in the past. Rather than use the shafts of the actual cart or the forecart, I use some lengths of PVC to touch her back there. But we're not going to go any further today than touching her.
Why don't we back her into it?
Okay, that's another possibility.
Over.
But then Scott is going to have to come out. Katie suggests let's back her up into it. Now she could spook in it
Back.
and break the shafts
Back.
in her attempt to get away from what she thinks
Back.
might be
Over.
attacking her.
Yeah. Over.
No, then she'll step on it. I wouldn't
girl.
put it
Back.
down.
Back.
And that's why we're not going to try to back her into it. I say let's go back to plan A.
Back.
Good. Okay. But I want her to feel the shafts before we back into it.
Ooh. Well, I'm just saying that because we backed the cows into their...
Yeah, we did. We backed the cows into their forecart and everything was fine. But our little mini cows are a different challenge than our Morgan horses.
Good girl. Back.
Can we back her straight? Now, if she touches that shaft, she will probably lunge forward
Back.
until she realizes that that shaft
Ooh.
is not going to
Good
attack
girl.
her. Can you imagine eventually we want to hook
Back.
up the forecart with tug straps,
Back.
single trees and chains. Okay, now she might touch. Good.
Back.
How about letting him just step up now?
She's
We want to stop on a good note.
Oh.
Uh-oh. She's still dancing
Back.
around. Katie's going to ask for focus,
over.
for respect, for trust,
Over.
confidence.
Back. Ooh.
We got to get that hip over or we got to get the forecart over.
Over. Good girl. Oh. Ah. Back. Say.
Good. How about stepping up, Scott? Just telling her you're there, and say touch. Say touch. It's just a word. Touch. Very quietly touch her. It's all right. It's all right. Very quietly.
Good girl.
Nice. Still concerned about the touch. All right, so we're going to want to do it again. We hope we can at least find our moment of resolution where she allows the touch.
Back. Over.
And next time we'll have some
Over.
PVC out
Hey.
here, long pieces that we can touch with. It's a little bit safer
Oh.
than trying to use
Back.
these wooden shafts at this point. It's all right, Eve. It's all right.
What?
Trust us,
Back.
Eve. Trust us.
Back.
Good.
Good girl.
A slight touch. It's all right. See, she's looking in that
Oh.
peripheral vision. Touch her just on
Steady.
the right hip is good enough.
Steady.
It's all right. It's all right. Steady. Steady now.
Steady.
Okay, and back
Good
off.
girl.
Oh, we want to back off when she is
Uh-uh.
giving us the right answer. And moving her feet
Over.
are not the right answer. So we're
Over.
going to try
Ah.
again. You don't remove
Over.
the pressure within parameters of safety until you get the right answer, because otherwise you'll be reinforcing the wrong answer.
Come on.
Half-broke horses. The fellow that trained pairs of horses to pull and drive spent about 6 years for each pair.
Oh. Oh.
Right now,
Over.
we're just doing single. We did do some
Over.
pairs work. We'll go back to it
Good.
eventually.
Good girl. Easy.
Just try to very
Easy.
gently tell her you're coming
Good
back
girl.
there. It's all right, Eve. We don't want her to kick out. Touch her with one of the
Good.
shafts. It's all right. If she's just touching her, then back off. Nope. 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 Scott, over there on the west end of that shelter is a long piece of PVC. Bring the small piece, the small diameter piece. We're going to go to a simulator here. We'll work our way up to having her understand this feeling. Yeah, is it wood? Yeah, whichever you can bring or both. No, okay, the easiest one to bring, we're going to simulate a shaft. And I've done this both with my zebus and with my horses in the past. So, Katie, kind of line her up close to the shafts of the forecart, and then Scott is going to touch her with the PVC. Now it's white, so we've got to desensitize her to the PVC, just like we did to the forecart shafts coming near her. Try to straighten her out.
Oh. Quit. Over.
Now next time maybe we'll have the Monty Roberts dually halter on.
No. Come on.
Because today in the farming program on RFD, the fellow was using a Monty Roberts dually halter and explained it, how it helped him.
Back. Over. Oh.
Good. Okay, Scott, walk over here. She doesn't have to be lined up in the shafts.
Over.
Walk over. Tell her you're walking around her. Hi, Eve. Yeah, you're not trying to sneak up on her. That's one of the worst things to do to a horse. You don't sneak up on them. You let them know you're coming. It's all right. Then you're going to walk up to her and touch her on the hip. Just say touch, 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 touch. Good. Good. She sees it. Back off, Scott. Our moment of resolution for today. One tiny baby step at a time. Next time we'll start with the white PVC. We'll go back to the shafts. We'll give her a chance to regain confidence that she's not in danger and that she's to give us the right answer. I'm going back years now because Eve was one of the first horses I trained to cart and to pulling. And in order to get her used to feeling things and seeing things come up to the side of her body, I used 10-foot gray PVC. And so we're bringing it out here because last time Eve got kind of upset about those forecart shafts coming up to the side of her body. Then we used one 10-foot white PVC, and whiteness sometimes can be spooky to a horse. So today, for just a few minutes, we're going to see how she behaves if Kyle walks up to her, letting her know that he's there, and touches her on her hips. Now, Sarah's got the Monty Roberts on her. She may bolt forward, Sarah, in which case you need to bring her back and put her in line. Repetition. We're going to make her realize that feeling and seeing things on the side of her body are not to concern her. She needs to have confidence in us. Now walk up to her and just hold them up at hip's length.
It's okay, girl.
It's all right, Evie.
Easy.
All right. We just wanted to show today what we were in for. Walk around her with it up off the ground slightly.
Okay, girl. It's all right. Okay.
See, she needs to understand that these are not gonna attack her. Look at her ears. Look at her investigative body language.
Yeah, I wanted.
That's okay. That's what we need to do. These right now are obstacles to her.
All right,
Good. Very nice, Kyle.
Okay.
So we're to the point where you need to walk around her. She needs to walk around them. She doesn't trust those electric conduits coming up behind her, approaching the sides of her body and her hips. She just doesn't trust them yet. Good. Good. It's all right.
Okay, girl.
And years ago, good, Kyle. I did this with her before I ever tried to put cart shafts on the sides of her body, approaching from the rear. And Eve was one of my best cart horses years ago. Once she gained confidence in us, she was steadfast. She was solid as a cart horse.
Good girl.
And as a pulling horse. Good girl, Evie.
Girl. Okay. Here, I'm gonna just.
Now you walk around him, Sarah, with Eve.
It's all right, girl.
Hold on, she's standing. That's good.
Okay, okay, good. No, that's good too. You see, she bolted
Good
for a
girl.
second. She
It's
said,
okay.
and look at her nostrils opening and closing. Really what we wanted to do today is just give you and us an idea how much desensitizing or sacking out we need to do
Good girl.
to get Eve ready to have those Forecart shelves.
Slow.
Approach her from the back. Can you show them again, Scott?
It's all right, girl.
And ultimately
It's okay.
to hook them up.
Ooh.
It's okay.
She's just
For
watching
farming.
you.
Because that is what I'm going to have to use for months to come,
It's okay.
It's all right.
Ooh.
since walking on my hip prosthesis, especially on uneven ground like this,
Easy.
is
Ooh.
pretty tenuous for me.
Hey.
Good, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Still backing off.
It's okay. It's all right, girl.
She might think it's like what I've.
And remember, something on the ground, the way you have it,
Yeah. Looks
is a different, than something not too high. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to go that high, just as far as up to her hips, her ribs.
Okay.
And as Sarah, I think she'll be braver walking around them. So why don't you, Kyle, you hold them up and she'll walk around them. Let's watch her body language. Piece of cake. Yeah, she said, I'm not worried about walking around them, but when that thing walks around me,
Ooh.
it concerns me.
It's okay. I'm gonna see if I can ask her to
Good
step
girl.
over. No, she doesn't want to get close.
Okay, and next time we'll have our blue flag or any kind of arm extension will help us. And then you know what I want to do eventually is have her walk into the gray conduit. We're going to make a little corridor. She's going to feel a little bit claustrophobic, but walking into it from the front
Ooh.
is less threatening to her than having those conduits approaching her from the back.
Ooh.
Good.
Easy.
Good, Eve.
I think she thinks it's like the flag, like the arm extension.
Right, that's what we wanted to do. We show prerequisite skills on getting Eve desensitized to our homemade farming Forecart shafts. And that's all for today.
See more at www.urbancowgirlchannel.com.